What's going on, everyone? That was a weird fucking thing, but we're gonna keep it in. We're gonna keep it in. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of StealthyWolfXLI Presents. Today, my throat is weird. It's the weekend. I'm fine. I'm still alive. Today, I thought we'd talk a bit more. Talk a little bit about sort of the games, that remake, remaster, and the spiritual successor, sort of like spiritual sequels as well, and that kind of thing. Plus, at the end of the video, I'm going to be doing a channel recap and looking forward to what's going to be coming sort of in February. Sort of like a main thing. But that's at the end. Right now, remakes, remasters, and spiritual successors. So, there's also one other category that I could put into this, and it's sort of the HD remasters, or it's the next console generation remaster kind of thing, where they don't really change much. They might add the DLC into the they might add the DLC with the game that was there, people had to buy separately, and sometimes they don't. They just, just go, hey, here's the game, have fun. So, there's obviously sort of like, there's a bar. There is a bar for what a remake slash remaster should be. And I'm going to bring up two examples. Crash Bandicoot N. Sane Trilogy, in terms of it being a remaster. Right? No, it's not a remake. They didn't remake levels. They only had, I believe, only as of right now, two pieces of DLC. They had Stormy Ascent for Crash Bandicoot 1, and then they had Future Tense, a brand new level that they made specifically for the Insane Trilogy for Crash Bandicoot 3. I apologize. Yeah, my throat's been fucked up over the weekend. I apologize if it annoys you. Yeah, so that's the bar for remasters. If a remaster isn't as good or doesn't look as good and doesn't sort of like, especially a trilogy where it's like the best sort of controls that kind of are normally like the last of a trilogy. So then if they go, right, all of the Insane Trilogy is going to be the same sort of gameplay style and stuff like that, then that's what like remasters should be. They should be the same game, but massive graphic overhauls, massive, texture improvements. It looks like time was spent on it, rather than, The Last of Us remastered. Or, like Heavy Rain on the PS4. It was already kind of HD, so the only thing you did was probably just increase it to 60 FPS if it wasn't, or make it more, stable, keep it at a constant 60 FPS, and maybe improve it so it's a bit better quality, but that's not really a remaster, in my opinion. A remaster needs to be, sort of Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, Spyro Reignited Trilogy kind of levels. If it's not that, it's not a proper remaster, is it? Like, is there, like I get, like, some sort of teams or sort of companies and developers don't have the kind of time to do that, or obviously they had it on the 360 or the PS3, and then or especially at the end of the life cycle of those two consoles. So yeah, it's a bit mean, but why would you remaster it? Just do the backwards compatibility thing. Just do that. But no, they want to sell it to you again. I mean, how many times? It was kind of a remaster, but how many times did people buy GTA 5? You bought it for the 360. Next year, you bought it for the Xbox One. Then the year after that, you bought it for the PC. You spent £150 on one game, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people did. Sorry. I apologize, man. My throat is screwing me over. Yeah, like it was kind of a remaster, but yeah, is it really? Did they really change anything? No. Um, but I guess you could say sort of like the remasters kind of go into the quote unquote deluxe versions for Nintendo games. You know, like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Was it? What was the? Is it New Super Mario Bros. Deluxe? What's the name of it? Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. There's for, like anything that was for the Wii U either got a sequel for the Switch, or they just said, "Hey, here's a deluxe version for the Switch," or they completely, fucked it off and went, here's what you want, but a brand new version of it. Super Mario Party being the example, because Mario Party 9 and 10. Well, it was 9 Wii. I think 10 was definitely Wii U. I'm not sure if 9 was Wii U or a Wii. I can't remember. 9 and 10 don't exist in my mind. You have Mario Party 1 to 10, no, 1 to 8, DS, and Super Mario Party right now. And why have they not, made a second Super Mario Party? Why have they not done that? Why have they not added DLC to Super Mario Party? And DLC to Splatoon 2 still? Sorry. Yeah, there's definitely a bar, and some games don't make that bar. Especially, as I said, the ones that, go from the previous generation of console to the current generation of console just to make a bit more money. It's not really kind of things. I guess also kind of what would be under remaster as well would be when you can play like PS2 games on like the PS4 or that kind of thing. I guess that's just like an updated version, like the PS1 or PS2 games that you can buy on the PlayStation Store. Are they worth it? Probably not. Did I buy all 3 GTAs that were on PS2? Yeah, you're damn right. I know there are others, but I kind of count the stories, the 2 GTA Stories games as PSP ones that were ported to PS2. Trying to think what else would constitute like a remaster, because the only thing I can think of is when they do like a Game of the Year edition, or like they add like a subtitle to it, and it's basically just all the DLC if you didn't buy the game first all. Yeah, like Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. It's not a sequel to Dragon's Dogma. It's Dragon's Dogma with all the DLC. What? Well, what are you doing that for? It doesn't make any sense. I guess also ports as well, or sort of like, how do I describe it? Because Flat Out Ultimate Carnage is a next gen port plus extra stuff of Flat Out 2, which I believe was on the PS2 as well, but it was also on PC. So, yeah, when you look back at it, you're like, And for anyone going to be like, oh, Call of Duty's a remaster every year, ha ha ha, go fuck yourself. We've only had one Call of Duty remastered, and if you play it now, if you really enjoy all the changes Call of Duty has done since Black Ops 2, or any kind of changes, if you like any of the Call of Duty since, going back to Modern Warfare is not great in the remaster, because then you just realise, oh well, the stuff that they added in to the game that all the current ones have that are pretty good, like the challenges continuing over prestiges, and guns keeping their camos over prestiges. It's just not. It just doesn't work in Modern Warfare Remastered. Sorry. Yeah, but along that kind of same line is obviously the remakes, where we have a set bar, again, by a specific game. Which is also weird because the one that I'm going to reference is a pure remake. Not they you know, they updated everything and then added some new stuff in. No. Full remake, but there was the one before it back in 2001, I believe, 2002, which is the current Resident Evil remakes. Yes, I'm talking about R Remake 1, R Remake 2, and the upcoming R Remake 3. Because Resident Evil 1 Remake, it's not... It's still a remake, that's the thing. Like, it's... Because a remake, in my mind, is what Resident Evil have done so far, where there's a lot of changes, all the graphics have changed, update, and even for Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3, I assume, is going to be sort of over-the-shoulder kind of view, you know, a la Resident Evil 4. So, fucking hell. Resident Evil 4. So it's like, if you remake a game, you need to take the main sort of story, the main characters, the main setting, and then just add shit, change shit around, like completely overhaul a huge amount of the game to, you know, to make it, to class it as a remake. Which Resident Evil 1, it added quite a lot more, which you could only sort of find in lore in the first Resident Evil on the PlayStation. But then Resident Evil 1 Remake added all that stuff in as actual bits of the game, and, you know, is very much sort of the definitive edition. Like, if you try and find any kind of gameplay of the Resident Evil 1 on the PlayStation 1, it almost doesn't exist on YouTube anywhere. Like, I say almost doesn't exist because there are some people out there who have done playthroughs on it. And obviously, you know, kind of the bad lines and cheesy lines and everything. But, yeah, it's almost impossible. But if you compare the two, there's definitely a different feeling with Resident Evil 1 and Remake 1. Our Remake 1. You know? And that's kind of the bar you need to get to if you're doing a remake. You know? It's like, you need to update the gameplay to the current sort of standards of games and what you're trying to go for. If you're remaking a survival horror, you need to keep it survival horror, but you need to sort of update it so it plays with people's expectations. Like, for example, there's literally one specific instance in both R Remake 1 and R Remake 2. Yes, I will be referring to them as R Remake, just so I don't confuse people too much. So pay attention. But in Resident Evil 1, you go down that specific L-shaped corridor, hallway, after the initial bit where Wesker goes missing, or Wesker and Jill go missing, depending on who you're playing. You go along that corridor, and dogs jump out of the window, or jump into the window? Yeah, jump into the window, into the corridor, and you got to fight the dogs for a bit. I just remembered something about Remaster, about Resident Evil, but I'll get to that in a minute. But in Resident Evil, in R Remake 1, when you go through that same corridor, and you go, I'm expecting it, you go through, and the only thing you hear is essentially, like, the glass on the window, like, slightly break. And you're like, wait a minute, where's the dog? So you go, okay, and then you go through, you forget, because you've already been through the room, you come back through, and then the dogs jump through. It's like, it's going, right, people are going to be expecting this, let's change it, so then we're going to get them again. And that's a really cool thing. You know, again, that's what makes like a remake, is when, you know, you change up something that people are going to be expecting, and then boom, it doesn't happen. And people are like, okay, when? And then you make it creepier later on. You make a jump scare later on. Again, R Remake 2. In the original Resident Evil 2, you go in, you go into the, what is it? I think it's just a reception, isn't it? It's like a reception waiting room kind of thing. You go through there, you turn around the corner, go through the door, and on the window, you see a licker go by. You're like, ah, shit. You then go through the next door, you go round a corner, and then there's a little CGI cutscene where your character looks up and you see the licker on the ceiling, and it drops down. Because it, like, there's drops of blood, and then you look up and the licker drops down. In our Remake 2, you go there going, I'm expecting that licker. The licker doesn't come by. You're like, oh god. You go through that hallway, you see, you hear like the radio from the guy at the end. If you go up to that rather than, you know, kind of going, oh, I know what to do, whatever. If you go up to him, you obviously see that his, almost like his entire jaw is just hanging off. And then sort of your character turns around, and then you see someone sort of hanging with like one of the bars in the ceiling sort of going through the back of their head through their mouth. And you're like, holy shit. Because obviously you're expecting a licker, and then you see that and you're like, Jesus Christ, that's gory. And then I think the first time you actually see the licker is if you go up to the, I want to say third floor. I want to say third floor in the RPD. You go up, and then it goes really fast across the window when you're not expecting. You're like, Jesus, and you're like, it's the tension of like, you know, there's a licker, but then the licker's not there. I'm like, that's what makes a good remake, especially in a survival horror remake. And I would say a Resident Evil RE2 make is a better remake than our Remake 1. Purely because it, you know, changed the camera angle and, you know, changed a lot of stuff around. So it was basically a brand new game, but it's still Resident Evil 2. Like, that's what kind of a remake needs to do. In my mind, to be classed a remake. I know some people might have different opinions. Please put them in the comments down below if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're in chat in the Twitch chat, put them in chat now and I'll read them out if there's some comments. But yeah, that was what the thing I just remembered about a Resident Evil remaster is something a bit weird, because I just remembered it in that moment, is Resident Evil 1. They managed to get Resident Evil 1 for the PS1 onto the DS. Like, I'm pretty sure the entirety of Resident Evil 1 onto the DS and called it Resident Evil Deadly Silence. And from what I can tell, apart from a few additions of different game modes, and different, yeah, I believe they added like another kind of like mode for the game, I believe was a bit harder, or it was like a difficulty, sort of like a different difficulty, but in like a different way rather than just being normal and hard, you know. Then what is it? Yeah, and then there's like another mode, and it's all to do like the touchscreen stuff. So it's all, you know, all makes sense for the DS. And yeah, basically it's the entirety of Resident Evil 1 on the DS. Now I don't know whether that says about, you know, how I think they've taken, I think they didn't do a lot of like CGI sort of cutscenes. I don't think it was no, they did it was the live action stuff. I think they took out some bits, but they put in, you know, they sort of kept a lot of it. Obviously a bit pixelated, but then again the original was pixelated, so it was basically a perfect port. And where I know that is on YouTube. If you go to the Niskel LP, TheNiskel LP. He's done he's done all the Resident Evils up to this point, and I'm actually rewatching them after we finished Resident Evil 7. I rewatched them. I'm up to Resident Evil 5 now. I'm watching. Anyway, regardless, but yeah, sort of Resident Evil know how to do a remake, and who did? Was it Naughty Dog, and who did Spyro? I can't remember who did Spyro, but like, actually no, it's the people that did the remake was Toys for Bob, I believe, and the ones who did the remake for Crash was Vicarious Visions. Both of those studios know how to do a remaster. They know how to do a remaster and make it mwah, chef's kiss. And obviously, Capcom know how to do a remake. So we come. I'll talk a bit. I'll talk about a bit more what games should be remastered, what should be remade, and what there needs to be a spiritual successor to at the end. At the end of this kind of little bit as well. But then we go on to spiritual successors. These are the sequels, or essentially kind of remakes in a way of not reboots. We're not talking about reboots. I could talk about reboots, but I don't want to talk about reboots because sometimes there are so many reboots it just makes me facepalm. Just and yeah, but we're not going to talk about reboots because there are some games that are like sequeled, but you could be like, oh, this is a reboot. Just, but it's still like a sequel kind of thing, and then some just keep using the same name. So you go, ah, yes, I totally want to play Doom 2016 with you. Well, you can't just say Doom 1. No, because it's not Doom 1. It's just Doom. You're just stupid. Anyway. Spiritual successors. So I've got two kind of... they kind of... trying to think, are they, I'm trying to think if there's three. I'm not sure if they're, like, mostly well-known, but the sort of the more well-known spiritual successor is the recently released, well, end of 2019 released, The Outer Worlds. Not The Outer Wilds, because who fucking does that, you assholes in game naming? Fuck you. The Outer Worlds, which was it made by, I think it was made by some of the team that made, or was made by the team that made New Vegas, so Fallout New Vegas, and that was basically, from what I heard, it was just a spiritual successor to Fallout. You know, it's Fallout in space. I haven't played it personally. I do want to play it. It's just that I have many games that I need to play, and I wouldn't get round to it for ages anyway, so I'm going to wait till it goes on, like, half price kind of thing. I'm sorry. But yeah, so that's a good spiritual successor, because it's got the... As I've seen, again, I'm not going to make any... I'm going to make assumptions from what I've seen. People can correct me in the comments. People can correct me in Twitch chat. Or you can, you know, debate this stuff on Twitter at StealthyWolfXLI. But yeah, it's, from what I've seen, they're kind of, you know, multiple sort of like branching kind of how to do certain quests. You can talk with people, you can kill people, you can kill everything, you can stealth everything, you can literally not kill anyone in stealth or guns blazing, that kind of thing. And you know, there's lots of different sort of locations and stuff, which is very sort of like a New Vegas-y, not 4 or 3, because 3 was very like, you have to do this, and Fallout 4 was in terms of its story. But yeah, huge open world sci-fi kind of thing, and again, from what I've seen, it's pretty good spiritual successor, you know, taking a lot of ideas from Fallout. And then we have the two other ones, which one of them is a spiritual successor to 2 games, well, a game and its sequel, and then the other one, which is kind of a sequel to that spiritual successor, but kind of isn't, but is a spiritual successor to sort of a series of games that are even older than the original spiritual successors games. It's basically the Ukulele series. Ukulele and Ukulele and the Impossible Lair. Ukulele and the Impossible Lair is a spiritual successor to the side-scrolling game, sort of, your sort of SNES games mainly. But sort of the biggest one is the obvious Donkey Kong Country series. That's kind of what is meant to be a spiritual successor to. Whereas the original Ukulele is obviously a spiritual successor, very obviously, to stuff like Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie. And again, they do it really well. It's because I believe it is the same sort of a similar crew as to the ones that made the originals back at, were they Rareware first of all, or was it Rareware after, or are they just Rare now? I don't know. There's like a distinction. There's a distinction. I'm fucking it up. I apologize. But yeah, like Ukulele and the Impossible Lair is it's the sort of the side scrolling, a lot of the same actions. And again, I haven't played it personally. I was going to play it EGX, but there was such a long line for it. I was like, nah, I'm not. But I probably will get it at some point. Even though I didn't play Donkey Kong Country, I do like the Ukulele series. I got Ukulele, just Ukulele. There. And yeah, in terms of what I remember of Banjo-Kazooie and what because I haven't played Banjo-Kazooie in years. But from the speedruns as well, and sort of stuff I've watched of it, it's very sort of like, it's you've got an pretty much a proper anthropomorphic. Well, can chameleon? No, chameleons can't stand. Kind of semi kind of anthropomorphic character, and then the side character being sort of a flying animal of some kind, which is a bit weird because it's a bat. So how does a bat carry a chameleon? I guess in terms of if you scaled up and scaled down the thing from Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo and Kazooie kind of thing. So yeah, the scale. I guess the scaling makes sense. Yeah. But it's all the kind of like sort of the big googly eyes on inanimate objects and people not actually saying words and just making noises with subtitle boxes and the sass of the sort of the main characters and stuff and the worlds as well, especially in Ukulele compared to Banjo-Kazooie. And obviously the title of the game, Banjo-Kazooie, Ukulele, and also that it's musical related, because obviously, but it's weird. Ukulele is like one thing, Banjo and Kazooie is like two different musical. So they try to make it different, but but that's like they're like good sort of spiritual, successors to what they're trying to do, and it's one thing to copy the entire thing if you're going to make it a spiritual successor, but there's also kind of the thing of making it sort of with the same spirit, as it were, of the originals that you're sort of emulating without it being a sequel or a reboot or something like that, because a lot of people do want to sort of cherish the originals while also having the new games as well, without having to sort of do like a remake or a remaster kind of thing, where it's like I just kind of want or a remake, sorry, because a remaster would just make it better, but if they changed stuff and you didn't like it, yeah. But then we get onto the bit where what should have a spiritual successor, what should have a remake, and what should be remastered. Let's do it. Well, I got a couple of ideas. What should be remastered? Honestly, genuinely, because it's recent its recent version, I would say, is not a proper remaster because some of the textures are still fucked, and because of recent sort of entrance in the series as well, need to be sort of like changed a little bit in the game, is Resident Evil 4. Yes, I know, the PS4 has had HD remastered, whatever version you want to call it, fine. But if you look at a lot of the game, apart from sort of the menus and the text and some of the items, the game doesn't look that great. Oops. Because the textures sort of around the thing just don't, they look all terrible. You know what I mean? Like, you look at the ground and it's just like, I'm not sure if that's a texture or if, like, yeah. What texture is this for? PlayStation 2? Cool. 2 generations before. Yeah, I would say that need to remaster just because I would say they need to change just a small amount of things, but not the entire thing. Because Resident Evil 4 is a perfect game. It's literally one of the best games of the 2000s, and then even the 2010s as well. Sort of like one of the best games ever. So again, debate that, but it has been amazing as a game. It's great. It's brilliant. It's, kind of thing. Obviously, they just need to, make all the textures, redo the textures, change the character models slightly so they fit in line with the Remake 2. Because I believe what the remakes are is this is a new sort of, this is the sort of storyline that they want, where everything, has been sort of related kind of back to sort of the first game, and it's all kind of that kind of thing. Rather than it being, oh, we put this it's in Resident Evil 2. It's well, that wasn't talked about in Resident Evil 1. And then they go, good point. We'll remake Resident Evil 1, remake Resident Evil 2, and then input, certain things. But yeah, no, Resident Evil 4 just needs a remaster, to be honest. I would say Resident Evil 5 needs a remaster, because I genuinely see Resident Evil 5 as canon. If only that means we could do another Resident Evil where Jill, or at least a spin-off, where Jill comes back after Resident Evil 5. Because there was an idea about someone going through about the wasted plot potential of Jill Valentine after Resident Evil 5, because we have not seen her since, Resident Evil Revelations and Resident Evil 5. We have not seen Jill Valentine since, and sort of the idea is, with that sort of PTSD of being sort of mind controlled, kind of thing in Resident Evil 5. Spoiler for Resident Evil 5, but, it came out ages ago. It came out over 10 years ago. Do you feel old yet? You should. Oh, thank you. I believe it's pronounced Zimmertrax 2100. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it as always. Appreciative. Thank you. Hope you stick around. Got a lot more stuff coming, and I'll be talking about that a bit later on. But yeah, Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 5 remastered. Not Resident Evil 6. Resident Evil 6 is not canon. They basically took out China. I mean, the virus in Resident Evil 5 took out the entirety of Africa, but only slightly. Only sort of the region of Kijuju, not the entirety of, a main city in China. I believe it was Shanghai, wasn't it? Or was Shanghai not there? It was China. I know it was China. Look. Serious. Yeah, Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 5 need to be remastered. I would like a remaster of Saints Row 1 and Saints Row 2. But I would only include Saints Row the Third in that, just to make it a trilogy remaster. But honestly, Resident Evil 3rd was where the series started going downhill, and Saints Row 1 and 2 are the best. I like Saints Row 1 more than Saints Row 2, but yeah, both of them are sort of perfect open world games. they're not too silly, like how Saints Row the Third and onwards were. Like they're not too over the top, but they're, they still have kind of like a serious kind of like, story, and obviously the branching, thing of the three gangs that you go to and you do different missions for and stuff like that. They have a different way of taking each one out. You get the idea. But yeah, sort of a remaster of Saints Row 1 and 2 would be ideal. Ideal, as well as Resident Evil 4 and 5. That's my kind of thing. Hey, even a remaster of, Mario parties. That'd be great if they had Mario Party 1 to 8 plus DS and they remastered the entire thing and basically just went, hey, here you go, have it on Switch. That'd be nice. But let's go into remake. Obviously, put your suggestions for remasters in the comments or in Twitch chat. Or tweet me at StealthyWolfXLI. Yeah, and now on to remakes. Remakes is hard because I would say anything from PS2 and original Xbox and GameCube could be remade, but it might just be sort of remaster rather than a remake. Kind of looking at those games, or as some people pointed out, stop remaking stuff, make new shit. Stop remaking shit, make new shit. Stop remastering shit, make new shit. And I agree with that to a certain extent, but obviously, that's kind of like... Then it kind of turns into a spiritual successor. That's why I put spiritual successors into this. Or, just a reboot kind of thing. But I'd say reboot is kind of the laziest thing, because you already take something and you already know what to do, and then you just kind of go bleh and say it's new. And say, oh, we're going to make a new series. And it's like, rather than making, a sequel to it, or a spiritual successor to make it similar, but not a reboot. Obviously, some things can be good rebooted. Yeah, remakes. I would have to go... that's... Because I thought about this, but now I'm thinking of, like, other things. Like, but I like remakes, or sequels to games that kind of died out. Kind of you don't see anymore, or you see some kind of spiritual successors, but not fully, if that makes sense. Yeah, stuff like Blinks the Time Sweeper. Remember that for the original Xbox? Blinks the Time Sweeper. I only ever played it as a demo. And it was too complicated for my small brain at the time, because I was, I want to say 10, around that time, when I was playing the demos. Demo discs, remember that. Should bring back demos. But yeah, sort of, like, Blinks the Time Sweeper, again, sort of make a sequel to it. You could reboot it, because I can't remember the story for the first one, but obviously some people who are Blinks the Time Sweeper fans would be like, no, sequel, please. Blinks the Time Sweeper 3. Yes, because there was a second one, where I think that was co-op. I could be wrong. Maybe. But yeah, one game I would love to see remade, or into a remake, is Destruction Derby 2, or Demolition Racer. Both of these games... I'd say more people know about Destruction Derby 2 more than Demolition Racer. They were kind of similar games. Yeah, like, just go find some Destruction Derby 2 and Demolition Racer. You know what I'm talking about, like, why they need to be remade. Just purely because of the current... how current racing games do stuff as well. Like, because I would say Wreckfest is a spiritual successor to Destruction Derby, sort of Demolition Racer, but it does its own thing so much that I can be like, it's just sort of a similar kind of thing to Flat Out Carnage. Like, it already has its own thing and kind of what it did, and it does it well, but would I say it's a full spiritual successor? Not really. It's a spiritual successor to the genre of Destruction Derby racing games. Like that kind of genre of, you know, not serious racing games crashing into everyone and destroying everyone's car kind of thing. But not specific games. But Destruction Derby 2, I have so many just fond memories of that game, and I still play it occasionally now on my PS2. And man, is it hard! It was hard then, it's hard now. Trust me. But yeah, the that remaking both of those kind of thing. Like Demolition Racer was kind of like Destruction Derby was more about spinning. You had to do certain things you had to like spin your opponents in like 180s and that kind of thing, and flip them and make them crash and whatnot, and do like basically just spins or wreck them. But there was also kind of like a racing element as well. Like there were two modes. There's like one where you could just do racing, and then there was one where you could try and destroy people. You'd get points for that. Whereas and that's how you'd go up like certain divisions and stuff like that. Whereas Demolition Racer was you could get points for hitting people. You get like 5 points and 10 points. You could hit them into a wall. You do 360s and that kind of stuff. You get my favourite, Death from Above, where basically if you landed on top of someone else's car, they instantly died. But that one had the kind of thing of you had to wreck people and like hit and get a lot of points from wrecking people. But then there was also multipliers at the end of the race of which position you came in. So you wanted to be higher up, but you also wanted to be enough and kind of like you got enough sort of damage and whatnot onto other people. And there was also a couple of power-ups as well. So it was kind of like, both games catered to two different types of kind of players. And I'd love to see them remade. Another game I'd love to see remade, and the original Xbox version is way better than the PS2 or GameCube version. The PS2 or GameCube version looks absolute garbage. But Reckless the Yakuza missions, or Yakuza, as everyone likes to say now, this was essentially a arcade-based mission structure racing game. Your car can't be destroyed. You get you have like a timer to do it. That's kind of like the arcadey kind of thing. If you complete an objective, like an objective in the mission, you got more time. There was 10 missions per 2 different scenarios. There was a bunch of cars and kind of different storylines for each one and what they were trying to do. There was like a sort of a police force and then a spy organization. There was always two characters that you were playing as. And yeah, it was from like me watching it back, me watching like people who know what they're doing playing the game, and like, man, that's a really short game, but it's a really like good game, kind of thing, and it's just really fun. I implore you to go look up any of these games I'm talking about, remasters, remakes, or spiritual successors to, because genuinely, like, while they're old, they're very good, like very sort of interesting games as well. In terms of sort of what you get now, like racing games now, is either you get an arcade game or you get a simulator. Or what am I going to choose? And then other kinds of games as well. What else? I think that's it for kind of all that. Sorry, let me have a drink. Yeah, if you've got any ideas for what should be remade, remastered, or have a sequel or reboot or spiritual successor to, please put them down in the comments. And yeah, this is the end of that section. But now we've got a channel recap. A channel recap for I said for January, but really it's just the sort of like past 2 weeks since I last done a StealthyWolfXLI Presents, and then with what we've got coming up for the next month. I'm saying next month because there's one thing that goes over the next month, but there's also kind of stuff we got going on. If I can get the date, can I get the dates of these? Ah, there we go. See the dates. So, what was the past 2 weeks? Where do we go to? 2020. Yeah, so we go to January 20th. So, on January 25th, obviously if you missed it, I did gaming in 2020, all the games because of some delays that have been happening. So that's another sort of podcasty, kind of talky video, kind of like this. Then, there was Kingdoms of Amalur episode 25, which was Rage Against the Trolls. So there was a couple of... I think there was from what I remember, a long time ago now, there was a side quest to defeat sort of like these mountain trolls that had specific names, and I had to go around and sort of killing them. And, oh boy, they're quite difficult, especially if you go from one to the other, and then you got to deal with their little minions as well. Then... so that's only a 20-minute video, so you should go watch that. And something I implore you to watch, please go check out my Far Cry 5 Infamous playthrough. Please, like the 3 recent episodes. The 3 recent ones, episode 4, 5, and 6, have not gotten that many views. They've literally got 2 views, and I'm like, can we at least get like one more extra one? So please go watch them. But the one 2 weeks ago, or from sort of 2 weeks, was the Far Cry 5 Infamous episode 5, To Live and Die at Fool's End, which basically, in short, you have to take back Fool's End from the Eden's Gate, the cult, and because it's on the harder difficulty, I struggled a lot, and yeah, I mean, if the title doesn't give away what kind of happened. Then there was Kingdoms of Amalur episode 26 going out. And that was a simple thievery where we had to go steal something. I'm not going to spoil the episode, but we had to go steal something and be sneaky about it for the not Thieves Guild, the Journeyman. What's the name of the guild? I can't remember what the name of the guild is, but it's I believe it's like a Thieves Guild kind of thing, or Journeyman Guild, or something. And then, for that weekend, which is 25th and 26th of January, we did have the new sort of game of one-shot challenges going up. That was Call of Duty World War II, where did sort of series, sort of the one-shot challenges in that game. Which the first one was a random class with sort of the LMG as a primary, because I did 2 random class setups. And I wanted to distinguish between the first one and the second one. So the first one was the LMG version, and the second one was the sniper version. So I basically randomized the class and went out and tried to do 2 sides of a war match and see if we could win overall or get further than the enemy teams. You have to watch those if you want to know. And obviously the second one, as I mentioned, is the sniper version, where I think I put a sniper with iron sights. So that's the interesting bit. Then the next week there was no StealthyWolfXLI Presents video, and there was also no Monday stream because fucking goddamn Twitch was broken last week. I remember that, because I was going to do an announcement and then I had to do it on Wednesday instead. But there was Kingdoms of Amalur episode 27 with What Happened as the title. So, what did happen? Basically, something happened that got me in a predicament, and there was only one way out of it. And then it got a little hairy after that. You have to go watch the episode now to figure out what happened. Then, again, I implore you to go watch it. Far Cry 5 Infamous Episode 6, The Cleansing. Basically, we took back Fool's End and got ambushed by Eden's Gate. They took us away for the cleansing. And we escaped, because obviously that's the thing. But how? How did we escape? Did we, was there an explosion of some kind? I don't know. You have to go watch the video. Suspense. Sorry. Yes, and then the same thing. There was a small update, an announcement for the one-shot challenges and the Kingdoms of Amalur. I'm going to sum it up here. Well, I'm going to sum up the sort of thing. But I do say go watch it because I go a bit more in depth. But basically, the announcement is one-shot challenges is coming to an end. The first series is coming to the first season is coming to an end. There's going to be one more game of one-shot challenges that I'll be doing this weekend. Well, if you're watching this on the week of upload, or you're watching this in stream, so I'm doing those this week. And also there was the Kingdoms of Amalur update, which I'm gonna do at the end of, which I'm gonna say a bit more at the end of this, because it makes a bit more relevance to the future rather than now or the past. Then there was also Kingdoms of Amalur episode 28. Remember, I want to point out that the Kingdoms of Amalur are achievement hunting / 100%. So even if I beat the game 100% and I don't have the trophies, there are going to be extra videos at the end of the playthrough that might be a bit few and far between. I apologise. But there will be extra videos of me getting all the achievements as well, especially if I have to restart the game and do the game a certain way that I didn't do the first time round. But yes, it's called, episode 28 is Web Would You Help Me? Basically, we go to a place called Webwood, and we're helping out sort of other people in that place. And I can't remember if that's the episode where we get the house. Might be, might not be. So let's hope for no more jump scare spiders, because I hate spiders, and the jump scare spiders, sort of like little cutscene you get before the interaction of the spiders. I love it! Yay! I hate it. And then we end off the sort of the recap of the past, the last weekend. The previous 2 days have all been one-shot challenges in Call of Duty World War II. The first one on the Saturday was the no perk challenge. Well, you can't actually have no perks in Call of Duty World War II, so you'll have to see how I make it a no perk challenge in Call of Duty World War II. So, go check that out. Or I guess no basic training kind of thing, I guess. It's Call of Duty World War II. And then the one after is the Ninja Challenge. No, I don't dye my hair and say racist shit and don't play with women. No, it's the Stealth Edition, which, as my name implies, StealthyWolfXLI, it should be pretty much made for me. But do I do well with a stealth class where I suppress my guns? And then there's essentially a sequel to that challenge coming out this weekend. You have to pay attention on the channel. Obviously, I would say the channel is youtube.com/StealthyWolfXLI. However, it's not. You have to go to the bit.ly link, as you can see at the bottom of the screen. And also will be in the description of YouTube all the time as well. But also you can just click my icon there next to the subscribe one, which should say unsubscribe because you're subscribed, right? Yeah? Cool. Yeah, but it's if you just want to type this in, or obviously look at the video, or even on stream, and it's also on my Twitter as well, @StealthyWolfXLI. If you go there, it will be under the link, I believe. It'll be the link on the location one. You'll see it. It's the bit.ly link with 2A91BWE. So go to that. But now we look forward to the future of the content for this month, where obviously, as I've said, today's Monday, and tomorrow we have episode 29. Actually, no, today, because it's KOA month. #Kingdoms of Amalur month, or #KOA month to shorten it down. But it's a Kingdoms of Amalur month every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, there was going to be a brand new episode of Kingdoms of Amalur going up on the YouTube channel. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit that bell icon so you never miss an upload. Or follow me on Twitter and have that notification thing turned on there if you choose. Because, I mean, right now it's about 5 o'clock. In about an hour's time from this live stream, if you're watching this live, in about an hour's time, the 29th episode of Kingdoms of Amalur is going to go up on YouTube. And that's going to be the start of hashtag KOA month. Which, because the release of Kingdoms of Amalur was in February. So I thought I'd do that. So, essentially, for the next 4 weeks, I know, 4 exact weeks, where you have a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, all in, like, the numbers of February. It's insane. So the 3rd, 4th, 6th, 7th, 10th, 11th, 13th, 14th, 17th, 18th, 20th, 21st, 24th, 25th, 27th and 28th. Every single one of those days is going to be a new episode of Kingdoms of Amalur. That's 16 episodes you're going to be getting this month for Kingdoms of Amalur month. But does that mean that the other playthroughs are not going to be uploaded? Oh, no. No, my friends. You're still going to get your Far Cry 5 Infamous Episode 7 this week, the 5th? Yeah, the 5th of February at 6 PM GMT. And then the one-shot challenges. There are 3 more one-shot challenge videos going up for Call of Duty World War 2, which is a bit bad because there's 2 days for a weekend. So you're going to be getting 2 more this weekend, and then you're going to be 1 more Call of Duty World War 2 one-shot challenge next weekend. But then the one-shot challenges for the next game, which you'll have to come to a stream this Saturday for. This Saturday? Yeah, Saturday. Okay. Yeah, this Saturday to see what it is. Ooh. But there'll only be one-shot challenge next weekend. The weekend of the 15th and 16th, unfortunately. But that's just how kind of the episodes kind of happened. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching this sort of recap and what we're going to have in the future for the channel, as well as the remakes, remasters, and spiritual successors talk. So I thank you all so much for watching. Even if you didn't watch this entire video and you kind of skipped some bits, thank you, I appreciate it. Streams that are going to be coming up while we're in this kind of mode. There's going to be streams on Wednesday at 4 PM GMT, on a Thursday 4 PM GMT, and Saturday at 4 PM GMT, and Sunday at 4 PM GMT. It's almost like I'm consistent with my starting times when I stream. Gasp! What I'm going to be playing, you have to go look to the stream or follow me on Twitter to know that. I'm not going to give that away for free. You really think I'm going to give that away for free? Nah. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video, next stream, or next tweet. Peace out.